Slow fade. Slow fade. Slow fade.
Slow fade.
Polar.
Take it easy. What?
Polar camel. It's the name of whatever this is.
Huh.
It's from where
So
my mom works.
It's a frost camel.
Yeah. Polar camel. They store ice in their backs.
But they're in the Arctic or something.
Yeah, yeah. Polar camels.
So why do they need ice?
Well,
Shouldn't they need to store heat?
maybe they store seal meat in their humps.
Welcome to another episode of Anyways, in which we discuss the television show Deadwood. Tonight we're discussing episode 9 of season 3, which is Amateur Night.
And we're also discussing polar camels.
Polar camels.
Yeah, we're discussing this type of beverage container.
Yes.
I'm Ben.
I'm Jordan.
Me?
And in this episode, the Earps left town. Odell died off screen, and Langrish hosted an amateur night in which the citizens of Deadwood could contribute their special talents.
And they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
And they did.
Had them going like...
I'll just front load the one thing that we've learned recently about this is that Odell, the actor who played Odell, had a death scene written for him, and he refused to film it.
Oh.
Which I understand. You know, like you don't want to be like. I could understand just like saying I'm a black character in a majority white cast, and I just don't want to like stereotypically die.
Yeah.
Very quickly. So that's why Odell just mysteriously is killed off screen.
Mm-hmm. But it's another situation where it doesn't feel like a detriment.
What would have been the point?
Well, yeah, it feels like it would be unceremonious and especially if it happens far away.
Yeah.
You know, why would you cut to it when it has the same impact?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being sort of ambiguous like that.
It said it happened in Grand Rapids or something?
No.
What did it say?
I don't know where he was on the road. Everyone dies on the road. He was
But
found on the road. I don't think he got very far from Deadwood.
Oh, okay. I thought they said something. Rapid City or
Rapid
something?
City.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well,
Something
maybe.
like that.
I remember Rapids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he didn't die very, what always strikes me is Hearst, when he's talking to him in the last episode, it seems like he's not going to kill him. But then I think he sees Hearst cry, and I think that maybe is why Hearst killed him. That's what my guess is. Like, because, Hearst is talking about, like, I would have killed you, but and then he starts he's talking about, I saved you because of the gold, or the color. And
yeah, I don't know. I never made that connection as far as the crying, but I have no real reason why he would.
I mean, he's just a monster. He killed him.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's. I can't. Really
He
say
never
a reason.
owns up to it. So. Maybe he did.
There's a minor victory in that, like Aunt Lou kind of drops her facade and just is like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't do anything other than just she knows he killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode also had like a lot of
Pinkertons?
Pinkertons showing their strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to psych Ben out for a second.
Well, you can.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of Pinkertons that are causing various mischief around town.
Yeah. Stomping on a dude's feet to cut in line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
God, it was like a violent stomp too.
Yeah, it was. He grabbed him by the arm and used it as leverage to stomp and like cave in his foot.
Do you know what it reminded me of now that I think about it? It reminded me of in Spaceballs when Barf's foot gets squashed
and it's
by
like
the
this
statue.
big, like a pancake.
Yeah, it was like a that's what it felt like when he stepped on his foot, like it stretched his foot out, like Play-Doh or something.
Mm-hmm.
That line is like a dangerous place. You don't need to be in line for that buffet.
No, everybody gets their fucking shit fucked up in that buffet
their
line.
feet trampled everywhere. Yeah,
There were a bunch of callbacks in this episode. We saw the soap with a prize inside guy.
Sure.
In the background of one scene, just after we saw a woman's breast in the foreground, like the tit licker could be seen exiting in the background.
we actually saw Walcott get hung again. No.
Was that the same?
We saw Moe's manual, which we haven't seen. We saw him last episode, but we haven't seen.
Was that the same lady that Stephen Tobolowsky did the?
No, that's Paris Booth, who is Powers Booth's daughter.
Never mind.
Tess. She was the one who was sleeping with Morgan Earp, and he felt slighted by the fact that she threw him out of his room.
Yeah,
they were being really sweet to the Earps. They were treating him really nice. And
but he was just like
complaining.
Well, and even his brother like took piss out of him a little bit about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she wasn't nice to you. It was your first time and all that stuff. It's like you poor baby.
On their way to the, did that happen this episode? On the way to the timber place, one of the Pinkertons makes fun of him.
Yeah,
and tells him to smear shit on his fucking whatever.
His blisters on his cowboy ass.
Yeah.
And he calls him Hiram, which is a phrase that people have used a few times throughout the series. Apparently it's an insult to call people Hiram, but
I got that it was an insult, but I didn't really understand why.
I think it's anti-Semitic. That's my guess. Sure. Going with the show, that's usually what it is.
Yeah.
But
when in doubt, just default to that.
But it leads to a moment of badassery. Yeah. Like Bullock grabs the head Pinkerton by his ear.
Well, so the guy comes back,
pulls his gun out of his holster.
Yeah,
I don't know if you looked down when that happened.
No, I saw it. It's like the guy comes back, tells him to smear shit on his blisters on his hands or whatever, and then that's when.
Well, he fakes him out. He's like, I'm not even concerned with you anymore, and then he turns around and shoots him. In the thigh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he does it from behind. He does a trick shot.
And then
basically,
our famous hero Wyatt Earp comes out and pulls the gun out of his holster and lays on the ground.
Right. Yeah.
No fingerprints back then.
And then also once again, Bullock sides with somebody for faking evidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I don't blame him.
Charlie beats up a prisoner.
Yes, he does punch him in the face.
Yeah.
For
not
talking. For not shutting the fuck up.
This Pinkerton, we've just seen him beat Merrick senseless, very cruelly.
What did he pull out? Was it the head of his cane, or was it brass knuckles, or was he just pistol whipping him?
I thought he pulled out his gun and pistol whipped him.
I couldn't quite tell if it was his cane or his gun, but yeah, it was something heavy, and it certainly, you felt it. You felt for Mr. Merrick.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of satisfying to see him grabbed by the ear and beaten by the cops. But again, these are things where perhaps there's a shift in American cinematic culture where it's kind of weird to see cops plant evidence and it being heroic or
right.
And Deadwood is kind of arguing for morally gray characters, so it's not necessarily saying these are good things,
but even still, I wish Charlie would have punched that guy some more.
Yeah. Come here again.
Well, I like the actor who plays the head Pinkerton. He's very he has a nice raspy voice.
And you want to punch him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at him.
Let's see. We got what else happens? We got
speaking of Hearst and Odell dying and Aunt Lou finding out about it and all of that, Richardson is working on his smoking of the ham, or I guess it is.
Also, did we ever establish that Richardson can read?
No.
When he was first in Extra,
I don't remember.
This episode opens with Richardson, everyone getting the papers. Or was it last episode?
It may have been last. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was last episode where it opens with everyone getting the papers with Pasco's letter,
right?
Which leads to Merrick's beating this episode. But when Richardson was still an Extra, apparently he's seen reading the newspaper.
Okay.
So before he was cast as Richardson, when he was just an Extra, he was reading the newspaper. Yeah. But does it seem wrong to you that he reads?
No, I think that's interesting.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I think it's
that
funny.
He's just this cur underling of EB, and everyone just assumes he's a moron because he doesn't talk much and he looks like a hillbilly.
Yeah.
But he's excited
prays,
for the paper.
And he prays to antlers.
Yeah.
And he can juggle. We learned this episode that he can juggle.
He can juggle.
And only
when he can cure meat.
Yep. And he can cure meat.
Yeah.
And then when he goes back to the smokehouse, that's when Aunt Lou finds out about Odell. And then we cut into the smokehouse, and
he's holding Aunt Lou.
He's consoling her. That's one of my favorite moments.
They're both crying.
That's why it's a genuine consoling thing.
Yeah.
Like. He's tore up about it too. He's so empathetic.
Richardson is so empathetic, whereas
that
most of the other characters
and
are not.
Probably has never even met her son.
Exactly.
He did meet Odell.
Oh, he did.
Well,
okay.
but like he doesn't.
But
know
it's more about her pain.
Yeah.
That is
the interactions he had with him were like, "You can't come in here."
You're right. Yeah.
and stuff like that were like not good.
Yeah.
And he's weeping
Yeah.
openly over this.
They're
just 'cause
both
he's so
holding each other
empathetic.
and sobbing.
I find it really heartbreaking that he's a good juggler and that Farnham just gets mad at him for juggling
Yeah.
and ruins his
Right.
act. And then the audience is like, starts booing when he starts dropping them.
You know what's really funny too is
Well, they start booing Farnham. I think.
yeah, they boo Farnham.
yeah.
But when he yells at Richardson, it like the accent or whatever goes away.
Richardson.
And
yeah.
it just, I mean, because I guess it's hard to do an accent when you're just screaming.
Yeah.
But it was
You
strange.
mean William Sanderson is Farnham?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's from Memphian. He's from Memphis. He sounds like that all the time, I thought.
No, but he's got like it suddenly sounded more modern.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's putting on a sort of
It was
Okay.
so
accent.
authoritative that it
Yes.
didn't sound as indirect and bumbly as
Yes,
his style
exactly.
tends to.
It was suddenly clear, whereas EB is not clear when he talks. He rambles and ambulates.
ambulance. He walks.
Let's talk about a little bit more about Amateur Night.
And the ambulators.
There's also a woman who is singing a beautiful song that makes a drunk cry. So he goes up on stage to
Tries
kiss her.
to kiss her. on
Yeah.
Then
stage.
later, at least twice in the audience, we see that they're hanging out and drinking from the
Yeah.
same bottle.
Like that subverted my expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who says that he can cry on command.
Yeah.
And then the one
That one guy from the Horse Meat March who we've
Yes.
seen
Yeah.
go to the bank and go to the election
He was
speeches.
he was the harbinger in Cabin in the Woods, that
Oh,
Joss
yeah.
Whedon thing.
Oh, and also this episode was written by Zach Wheaton, one of the writers
Well,
credited as Zach
I bet that's the connection there.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe he likes the.
It's like, hey, get that guy who wanted the guy to cry for his dad.
And this is probably the most sympathetic that guy has ever been.
yeah.
He always, because he just has such a harsh look to him.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably the last time we see him, but he's like, he asked the guy who's carrying this guy with this huge face. Like, I don't know how to describe him. He has a large beard, but his face seems like
Yeah.
drawn by Mad Magazine. It's gigantic.
He looks like a. Oh well, never mind.
He's carrying a sandwich board that says "Can cry on command," and then he pays him to cry on command, and then he starts crying.
Yeah.
And
He's like, well, what do you know? You didn't even know him. it's like no, easy for you. You didn't even know him.
Yeah,
So it's like the reason he didn't cry is because he was a hard guy
He's
to
a
love.
piece of shit. Yeah.
and like presiding all over this is Jacqueline Grish, who looks like Zorro.
Yes.
I have a
Yeah,
feeling-
he's got a
Yes.
very Zorro cape. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have a feeling he's probably patterned after the photo of Jacqueline Grish that you can find on the Wikipedia page, which is just, I think he's probably wearing a cape there as well,
Mhm.
and he's in his element, and he's
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Al, I think, wishes he was at the. At the. This is like one of many times where Al has to stay behind, but you can tell he wishes he was there.
Mhm.
Kind
Like
of
the
thing.
funeral last season.
Yeah.
And he sings a song "As I Walked Out One Morning," which is like this like British folk ballad about a guy who goes out and gets shot, and it became a country and western song like "Streets of Laredo" and
Mhm.
"Don't Take Your Guns to Town."
Which
This
is
all
very
the same
fitting
song.
considering, Swearingen is like a British transplant,
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, you're
or-
right. Yeah.
and Ian McShane.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also is like it's also a really great Louis Armstrong song, or he covered it called St. James Infirmary. But it's like all the different heads of state, Bullock and Swearingen and Tolliver, can't go and enjoy themselves at the theatrical thing. Like theater is a
Right.
totally different thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they would somehow be betraying their office to show up there. And so the only person who actually leaves his little cloister is Tolliver to try to threaten Joni Stubbs again.
Yeah, he gets in a way,
Yeah.
in a mood,
Yep.
and has to go harass Joni because he doesn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And for once, Joni successfully rejects his ass.
Yeah.
And with the help of Mose Manuel and
Jane.
Jane reverts like she did with Al Swearingen when she first met him to like a childlike thing
Mhm.
where she has to have her hand held by Mose Manuel.
Yeah.
She refers to being really scared.
Mm-hmm.
And
But then gets her hand held by Joni
Yeah.
at the end.
I also like that Mose, not knowing who he's about to encounter, runs
Yeah.
around the corner and sees
he's
the
like,
guy
"Whoa!"
who put him in that
Yeah.
situation. You know,
yeah.
like last time I saw you, I got shuffle holes in your place.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
And all Mose has is like a stick.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Walking
what
stick.
when we were watching this, I love that both of you, one of you said, he's like a vampire. Like,
Yeah, because he can't enter the building.
Right.
yeah, he comes up and he's just like
Can't
so
come in here,
debonair.
Si.
Yeah.
I suppose I could if I wanted to, but he still lingers right outside the door.
So
Could you invite me in?
after so much time where
Got
Tolliver,
the long red coat.
But yeah, he is almost dressed like a vampire too.
Yeah.
and Tolliver is like been so connected to Joni and so possessive of Joni, and she's gotten so far away from him. Like she's got this schoolhouse and this garden and these people that she's like hanging out with, and it's just it's neat that he can be defeated at all. Like the show is actually letting him be defeated, which is good.
They do finally move the schoolhouse.
Yes.
Which was confusing for me, whereas they would talked about the theater building one, but instead they move it into an old building which has a tree growing in the center of it.
Yeah.
And
Which is great.
Which is nice symbolically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
And Joni is obsessed with telling Mrs. Bullock
Yeah.
the history of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a compulsion thing.
But
It's
I
like,
feel like the
have to
show
have-
should have foregrounded better why we were moving to this house and not building that.
a new
Waiting.
one.
I guess this is they're waiting for the other place to build. I don't know.
Mhm.
But
I'm not sure.
Joni is very pained, and she has this weird pain expression on her face, like like a
Ow.
child, accurate.
Yeah.
Like a child with a headache. She's
Yeah.
She and Joni are they need the healing power of hand holding. And,
Charlie Utter.
Charlie Utter got to say 2 lines.
Yep. And
Yeah.
as most of his lines go, it starts with him saying Miss Stubbs, and then he says something, and then
it ends with Miss Stubbs.
and then ends with Miss Stubbs, and then we move on to the next scene, and all it really is something about how he likes her, but they can't be together or something. I'm not really sure what's going on.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Did he say something like that?
And no, he didn't say anything.
No,
like
no, he
that.
didn't. No, he
But-
doesn't.
but like,
No. I'm not saying he says that directly. I'm
Oh.
just like.
Well, I wish I could be with her, but
Yeah, he says
no,
that,
yeah.
but it's like it's like you want them.
they're
to,
friends, and he thinks she's pretty.
right?
I mean, we don't even get that. We just know that he really likes Miss Stubbs.
He likes
doesn't
her.
like it when she walks past him in the thoroughfare.
Right.
Without saying hey,
Yeah,
Right.
That's just right out.
because she singled him out.
And I guess
earlier.
and he doesn't know anything yet about Jane and
Yeah, like how would he
all
react
that.
to that?
I don't know
Like,
because that's what. But
is he as a
I think he
fucked up as
feels
Shaughnessy?
he feels like this is like this unrequited love thing. I bet that he wants to work out at some point, and that he thought I'm just gonna.
I mean, it may not be an active
Yeah,
ambition
sure.
on his part, but
Yeah.
it's certainly a butterflies in the tummy
Yeah, when he sees her, ooh.
boyish thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also found
Taking
out
off his hat and
Yeah,
fumbling
exactly.
with it kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
we got a little bit more Johnny Burns action this episode, where
Yeah.
Johnny, who I think in the last episode
Oh,
we saw,
Mr. Wu.
yeah, Johnny last episode I think we've seen him teaching Jen to read, the prostitute, but this episode he's and he also threatened Morgan Earp with ripping off Jen, and now he's like deciphering what Wu is saying.
He's
Yeah.
better at deciphering Wu's drawings than anybody in the room.
Which gets him punched in the face.
Punched in the face for it, yeah.
Yeah.
He should have pulled Al aside and told him what the translation was so Al could look cool.
And Dan kind of, forewarns him of
Smirked
that.
about it. Yeah, yeah.
Did he? I missed that.
Well, does it? Well,
He's just basically
he
saying.
says something about him getting killed,
Well,
basically, for it, right? Or does he say get hurt? No, he says he warns him like don't
Don't
show
say
off or something, basically.
Right, yeah.
And then he does, and then he gets punched in the face, and that's why he smirks.
Right.
There's
like,
also-
I fucking told
Custer
you.
City? And Al just goes,
Yeah, because Wu has been saying Custer, and
And
Johnny
he's
makes the
fucking
jump
dead.
to Custer City. Yeah. There's also a great thing where Wu just rattles off 150. Like he's like 150 men. Like he doesn't say men, but he says 150. So Wu is picking up more English, and then Al is trying to communicate with him. So he says "Bwakwai lo," which is I think is a slang term for like a negative term for a white person.
yeah.
So like Wu is getting better also with his drawings.
Yeah.
Like his drawing is really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah. Let's see what else happens.
Anyways, no.
The Earps agree to leave town.
Yeah.
Bullock is like, "You're gonna get killed." If you stay."
If you stick around, your
one that's-
dipshit brother is gonna stir something up.
Yeah.
there's nothing for you here.
Yeah.
You're clearly your lumber lease was
For
a whole lot
not-
of nothing.
Yeah, kindling.
Just leave.
Yeah,
Move on for
Yeah.
your benefit.
right. Move on out of this plot. We don't need you here.
Right, yeah.
Well, we get a more of Steve and General Fields.
Yeah, it is becoming a Weekend at Bernie's scenario almost.
Yeah,
in turn.
he brings him to the to the
Except without him
talent
being
show.
dead yet. It's like
Right.
he's like wheels him up, leaves him there. To like he's gonna drink here. He's like, what?
I can only imagine, like, if he is still in there, like, what kind of, like, screaming internal monologue is going on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Steve also, I mean, not Steve, General Fields also goes to the bank and, like, tries to tell, like, Alma his life story.
Yeah, he's like, just because I'm cutting and running, like, shouldn't reflect poorly on
Hofstetler.
Hostetler's,
Right.
thing. And Mrs. Ellsworth's kind of like, I don't care.
Yeah, we all got our problems
Yeah.
basically.
You're holding up my line.
I'm addicted to a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And then is this the same episode where Langrish gets the loan
Yes, I think so.
against the
Early
money
on.
that he already has?
Mm-hmm. And he's every encounter he has, he ends it with asking if they have an unusual talent that they would like to showcase at the thing.
Yeah.
He does the same thing with Joni later.
And it works with her. Like, she seems like a little bit delighted by it.
Yeah.
Um,
Even though he's so comfortable with being in people's personal space
Yeah.
and being right in your face.
He's a great promoter.
Yeah.
Every person too, he also says like, "Oh, you got to come to the thing."
Yeah.
Every single character knows about it, but
Right, yeah.
because of that.
yeah. And we also see Harry Manning handing out little promotional cards for his run as sheriff.
Yep.
There's also the return of Hugo Jari, Stephen Tobolsky, the man from Yankton.
Yes, Yankton's
Yeah.
back.
And he does this delightful thing where he purses his lips and
He does
imitates
a bird impression.
Hearst regurgitating food into his mouth. Or
Yeah.
it's very...
Like a baby bird. He
Yeah.
does like a
It's-
squawking sound.
It's very Stephen Tobolowsky.
Yeah.
I mean that's letting him
when,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how the most powerful man in the camp, you would just walk up to him and just make bird faces.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very out of left field, but that's how he
But that's
is.
him though. Like it's so baffling to me the people that seem to have plot armor in this show. That I mean,
Were we talking about that with Teague, where it was like there's
How is
there's
he
plot
still
armor
alive?
for like morons?
Yeah, there are people who would irritate, you know, like.
Well, like
Yeah.
Johnny a lot of times is so fucking stupid that
Yeah.
I mean,
Like he could have been killed for
Early on.
letting Wu out
yeah,
recently,
Mhm.
even though it wasn't his shift.
yep,
You know, but yeah, Stephen Tobolowsky's character, he's so bold and brazen and just like defiant in the way he deals with people
yeah,
that
it should get him killed, but for some reason it doesn't.
Well, he is a man from Yankton. He is the commissioner.
I guess so.
And he's also recently...
it hasn't stopped him before.
There's an interesting thing where he talks about, Indian reservations were notorious for the Bureau of... the Indian agents always taking all the money. He mentions he's taken over 90% of the money given to him by the federal government to feed, clothe, and protect Indians and
Yeah.
put it in his own pocket. And now he's in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucker.
Yeah.
But him and Silas are friends again.
Yeah. That was a...
That's a positive outcome
Right,
from
yeah,
him
it's
stealing
like-
all that money from Native Americans.
I've been holding out hope that they would mend fences together.
We also learn he's afraid of heights. He's
Yes,
scared to walk out on
yeah.
the balcony with Hearst, but he has to get a signature from Hearst
Yeah,
as receipt that he had
And
a
Hearst-
conversation.
Heavy foreshadowing.
and Hearst is like basically like, I'm not gonna. Are you crazy? I'm not gonna sign this thing that's clearly illegal.
Mhm.
It's like he's like, no, this is just saying that you talked to me. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's
I
like,
just need proof that I
did
I
this.
came and did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean he is connected with the government that Hearst needs to be in control of and
Yeah.
connected to.
Right.
So it makes sense that he would not kill him outright.
Right.
I don't know, and I guess we've sped through
Anyways.
the entire episode.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, do we want to talk about Swearingen singing?
Oh yeah,
You can.
Well, we talked about the song, and I liked it.
It was good.
He was singing to a deer head, another prominently featured dead animal on a wall.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Anyways, make peace, not love.
We're in the end game now.
Dog.
I know that this is a reference to a Marvel.
And-
Marvel cinematic.
I love
also-
marbles.
What?
Also to Sean Connery.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're the end game now, dog.
Oh man.